I'm Ian Sanders, author of Juggle, Rethink Work, Reclaim Your Life, and I'm here in Bristol today for the latest in the series of Juggle Tapes interviews. I'm here to meet David Sloly. David is currently creative director at an integrated marketing agency called Mason Zimbler, where he works creating campaigns for brands like Microsoft, Dell and 3M. But he's had a very interesting background in a career that's embraced everything from radio and television production to DJing and writing books. Plus, he's recently added hypnotherapy to the list of things he juggles. Let's go meet him. So thanks for joining me today, David. It's good to be spending time with you. You're creative director of a digital marketing agency, but what I find interesting about your story is that your background hasn't just been in advertising and marketing. You've done a whole load of different stuff. Tell me, was it kind of quite difficult to muscle your way into a job like that? Because they went, hang on a minute, your CV is a bit different to what we'd normally expect.
I'm blessed that it worked for a wonderful company, which has the belief that innovation is what will drive our company forward. And I believe that as well. Things were changing from a traditional creative director would be interested in what does the title say and what does the picture look like. And that's still very important. But also, we're in a new world where there's communication going on with people, conversation going on with people, and there's customer journeys. And I came from a background that understood all that, as well as being able to put headlines and pretty pictures together. So for the company, they were very forward thinking, and it seemed like a natural progression for them.
You've spent a lot of time working in radio and TV.
Yes.
Coming up with ideas and producing programming, producing content. You've done some DJing, you've written books. What else? Anything I've missed?
When I left school, I started my own company. I was supposed to go to university and decided that they'd put me on the wrong course. So I started my own company. Sold that, travelled. Whilst I was travelling, I was hearing foreign radio in languages. I couldn't understand a word they were saying, but they were still managing to be really engaging and enthusiastic, and it sounded fantastic. I'd never heard anything like that in the UK. And so when I got back, I decided I wanted to be a journalist and understand how to tell stories really well.
Right.
And so I went to the BBC and managed to become a journalist with them, train with them. And then after journalism, I worked at a company called Unique Broadcasting, UBC, started producing content, and then went to do TV work. And then there was the DJing in between it, and the books and everything else that kind of unfolded from there. But it's always gone back to that. I like creating things that people will like. It's also an element of identifying problems.
Right.
I can't believe that someone hasn't tried to solve that problem.
What about within your role, the actual kind of juggling of different things you do? Because we know creative director might be very clear cut, but actually, there's a whole load of different things there. You're managing a team internally.
Yes.
You're managing relationships with clients. You're getting new business wins, and you're thinking up a whole load of new solutions to problems.
Yeah.
How do you find that on a day-to-day basis in terms of just mentally? Do you find that quite mentally stretching, that you've got all those different things and they need different, maybe to think up great ideas, you ain't going to be sitting in the office, but to manage this team, you do need to be.
I've got great creative stuff. So I don't see it as I've got to be in the office at 9 o'clock and sat at my desk until 5:30, because that's not really how we work in the real world.
Sure.
It comes back to your juggle book, isn't it? You need to be able to think clearly about one area of business, and then when that's up and running, move on quickly to the next one.
So it's about prioritising for you.
Yeah, it's about prioritising, and you get better at it. And after a while, you're able to juggle between all these different things seamlessly, and it becomes actually great fun.
Because there's a great quote that's at the beginning of my book, Juggle, which is from you, which is about your whole kind of view on the work-life thing and the work-life balance thing. Because, for you, I think your story is, well, forget balance, but it's about knitting all these things up, because one thing informs the other. And I think you said, when you're playing, you're thinking about solutions to work, and when you're working, they both feed each other.
Yes. My wife says, what are you thinking about now? I know you're thinking about something. And that's the moment I go, right, well, I better write it down in my notebook now and go back to my personal life.
Yeah. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. But she enjoys it. She enjoys hearing about what I'm doing. I enjoy hearing about what she's doing. It adds a lot of variety to our life, and it gives us a good excuse to go and see lots of movies and plays and different things, because it's all feeding that creative mind.
But I mean, I know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. you're not compartmentalising work between 8 o'clock and 7 o'clock, 5 days a week. It's always there, but and that does create challenges with trying to switch off. I mean, what do you like on holiday? You always notepad there. Here's some ideas. Yeah. And that doesn't feel like a chore.
No. If it felt like a chore, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Is it doesn't feel like a chore. I'm on my honeymoon, walking along the beach at 7 o'clock in the morning, writing a report that I'd been told, don't do any work whilst you're away. Do not do any work whilst you're away. But I wanted to do it. It'd come to me, and it was very clear in my mind. And I'm a firm believer that when you visualise these things, as soon as you visualise them, make the picture very clear. See the story all the way through, and then commit it to paper.
Sure.
And I enjoy doing that. I enjoy that process. So for me, it was like I'd already seen this thing in my mind. Now I just needed to fulfil it and write it down.
Right.
And then I'd be happy. And then by the time my wife gets up, we can go and have breakfast, and it's all done.
And it's out. It's on paper.
Yes.
Yeah. You've recently added something else to your juggling, another ball, if you like.
Yeah.
Hypnotherapy,
Yes.
which I don't know if it's a hobby or what drove you to start doing that, but I mean that must be that's quite a thing to be doing kind of extracurricularly, isn't it? Because presumably a lot of people are doing that, and that's what they do. They're a hypnotherapist, and they train and do that full time.
Hypnotherapy came around because part of the creative process is you're solving problems, and you're using your mind to do this. And I wanted to know more about the mind, how the mind works. Why does it do these things? Why is one person motivated and will get up and go and do it, and another person won't? Found something called solution-focused brief therapy, and as part of it, it uses hypnotherapy. And so the thinking is that we've all got the answers within us.
Right.
If we can lower our stress level and raise our intent, then we can do the things we want to do.
Fascinating. It's David Sloly bringing science to digital integrated marketing. I think one of the themes that's really at the heart of kind of being a juggler and juggling, and my book is about passion and being passionate about stuff, and it's clear that you're passionate about everything you do. I think the other thing is about a theme of authenticity. When we've all gone through periods in our career where we've had to maybe, compromise ourselves a bit, to win a client or whatever. But I think as we mature, it's like, well, this is me, and this is how it is. Take it or leave it.
I think I don't want to win clients like a game of poker.
No.
I want to work with clients that want to work with us, and then both parties are going to benefit. They're going to get the best work from us, and we're going to get to see results that matter for them.
It's interesting that you've had these quite seemingly random different things from your own business with the telecoms equipment through to designing or prototyping a laptop stand and DJing and writing books on DJing and producing radio programs, winning awards for them and everything else. To a lot of people that feels quite random, but does it, without sounding too philosophical, is there a sense that this was all meant for a reason, because actually now it really resonates for what you're doing in 2009?
At the beginning there was no master plan. I certainly wasn't thinking, right, now I need to go off and learn to DJ, because in the future they're going to develop MP3, and I'm going to be involved in some electronic equipment that's going to enable people to move MP3s around and use them on different equipment. None of that was ever in the pipeline. But I'm probably quite a creature of habit, really, even though people go, oh, he's quite a maverick, he's doing all these different things. I'm actually quite narrow cast, really, because they all resonate together.
Right.
They all act as like one chord. And so I'll take the bit of journalism, and that enables me to write the story that we're going to need. I'll take the bit of DJing, which has enabled me to understand how mass people move together, and how they actually get into a sort of tribal beat. And I may take a bit of something I'm doing from psychotherapy and realise that this is going to have certain triggers that are going to motivate people, give them a positive feeling off the back of this. And so it all kind of does start coming together. And whatever I do next, I know subconsciously I'm going to make the decision to do it, because it's going to fit together with the other things, and it's actually going to make the toolbox stronger. Possibly not wider, but a stronger toolbox. So I am probably actually quite a narrow chap who comes up with ideas and not much else.
For me, I think I'd feel a bit, I don't know, having a sense to be so liberated. I think if you can have a role where you can be this real kind of floating resource across, different roles and responsibilities, but when you've got a role that requires you to be quite head down, and in managing people and managing that process and being there for the clients, I suppose you know, however pioneering clients might be, I suppose they still want that satisfaction. They want to talk to the creative director and have a sense that you're standing over people in an office rather than, oh yeah, no, I'm working on your thing. We're just having a glass of wine outside a pub.
But you know, I've got great creative staff. I don't need to sit and hold their hand through these things. I have art directors who are far better art director than me. I have digital coders that blow me away at what they can do. So I have all this amazing talent around me. It's just making sure that the talent have got the tools to do the things they need to do,
sure.
and understand what we believe we should be doing and how we should be doing it and how we should approach things. And so it's not all day heads down.
No.
You know, checking and double checking and looking at process and paperwork. I've got a great team of people that
So you are more freed up than that?
Yeah.
Who knows where next, but good luck. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ian.
Cheers, David.